is a rare thing that I do 2 videos in one day, but this is a special occasion. First, do you see that? That is rain. I finally have rain to break this heat just a little bit, although God knows it'll be humid tonight. But thank you, baby Jesus, for the rain, because it has been dreadful. I'll talk more about heat in the van in a couple other videos. But this morning I released the video of Baby Moo, which was the highlight of my approaching half a year on the road. Everything about it was wonderful. I was just so excited to publish that video today. And then I got on Evil Book, Facebook, a little bit later, and I saw that there was a big thing going on in my universe of people back at home. And so I wanted to make this video to make the point that you will experience amazing things out on the road, like I did with Baby Moo. And there is nothing that is repeatable, that is even close to the kinds of people and the things you'll get to do when you're living in a van, traveling around. No argument there. But one of the downsides is that you're not there for the wonderful things going on with your friends and your community back home, and so you miss out on some stuff. And so when I got on Evil Book today, I realized that I had missed the retirement party for a very dear beast of mine. Let me introduce you to K9 Diablo. Now, I met K9 Diablo when I was producing my documentary series, 24 Hour PD, which effectively ended my news career. No regrets, the officers were totally worth it. Y'all know I'm like huge Team Blue. But it didn't really fit the agenda of mainstream media, so they demoted me. I'm sure that's not how they would explain that story, but that's how it happened. Anyway, so I had worked a little bit with K9 Sultan, who you saw not that long ago when he came to visit the Babe buses it was being built. Sultan is like my soulmate. He's the size of a bear. He has huge I mean, he's enormous. He's bigger than me. But he is my Snugglesaurus, and I just I dress him up for his birthday. Oh my God, I worship the ground his 4 paws walk on. And his handler, his human, Curdy, is the coolest dude around. I adore him too. They're just an amazing team. I have nothing but great things to say about all of our K9 officers, although some of them don't love me as much as I love them. Anywho, the first time I met K9 Diablo was shooting 24 Hour PD, and I went to their training, because they do training where they all get together and like they teach the dogs how to find drugs and how to find people and responding to commands. And so of course, like a nicer reporter would have done some really serious video about the dogs and their training. Well, that's just not me. Nobody ever said that I was friendly and approachable. So instead, I produced this video about the canines because they were training in an old office building that had linoleum flooring, and their big ass paws were scraping all over the place. They looked like they were figure skating. So let's roll that footage.
You are under arrest. Once the dog finds you, the dog will bite you. This is your last and final warning. Good here. You ready to go have some fun?
I think I was the only one in that group who appreciated that video. But at the end, you'll see K9 Diablo, whose nickname is Dee Dee, because God love her, but his human Kendall is not big on all those syllables and vowels, so she shortened it to Dee Dee. And just watching them, you'll see what kind of bond they have. Now, Kendall is the funniest woman I've ever met in my life. She has 5 brothers, or maybe it's 10. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. She is a badass bitch. I respect her so much. She was so much fun to work with. I couldn't use practically any of her audio because it was always something more sarcastic than what I said, and the general public's just not ready for that. But the relationship between her and Diablo was just so cool. And so I finally got to work with her on 24-hour PD, and I had to kind of trick her into it. But I wanted to capture that relationship. And so I found a night where it was a full moon, and I finally got her to go up to the top of a parking deck. And that's where I shot this picture, which may be one of my favorite pictures of all time. And whether or not you like law enforcement, I don't care. But if you understand the relationship and bond between a human and their dog, I think that picture sums up everything. She loves that K9, and he clearly loves her just as much. So I'm a huge fan of K9 Diablo, but I remember when we were working together, Kendall said that he was having hip issues. Diablo has hip dysplasia, and it was harder and harder for him to work because when they send those dogs out, you know, it's tough. I mean, people kick the dogs, punch the dogs, try to kill the dogs, and so it was getting hard for Diablo to do his job. So I saw on Facebook that today was the day that he was medically and honorably retiring, and the police department had a retirement party for him, and I was so bummed out that I missed it. Because y'all know I would have shown up with confetti and a backup choir and a band. I mean, I just love being dramatic about it. So I was so disappointed that I missed it, but some of my friends in the police department, Allison, who you've now met, whose dog, who's not nearly as cool as K9 Diablo, ate my passport, but she sent me a bunch of pictures. She now refers to herself as my freelancer. Not quite. But, oh gosh, I was just so upset that I missed it because I so wanted to be there. And there's a couple things that, you know, when you're out having a big adventure, life still goes on back at home. But I do want to tell you a little bit more about Diablo because I have a world of respect for our canine units. You know, criminals, you can outrun maybe an officer who has two legs, but you cannot outrun the four paws of justice. Oh no. You play stupid games, you win furry prizes. And it is amazing to watch those dogs work. It is amazing to watch the connection they have with their handler, responding to commands. But those dogs do a great service, and they catch some really dangerous people. They put their lives out on the line, quite literally, and are often the cases that our officers are safe and can go home because they've got an amazing backup team. You did so good. You did so good. Just let me introduce you to this guy before he totally goes out on retirement and is wearing Hawaiian shirts and picks up a gambling habit. K9 Diablo, Kendall likes to vacuum him before he goes out to work. And she has all these hilarious photos because he's a giant puffball. And I mean, look at those ears. He picks up 52 channels with those ears. Now, we have, at the Wilmington Police Department, we have German Shepherds and we have Malinois. German Shepherds are just, they're just so majestic. And that's what Didi is. He is a German Shepherd. Our Malinois are actually when God took T-Rex and a chainsaw and put them together, and that's a Malinois. But Didi is just, He is a doll, and he's kind of the male model of the group, like he knows he's beautiful. Subsequently being replaced with Dex. So Kendall has another canine now, Dex, and Dex will kind of take over Dee Dee's spot. And according to Kendall, in retirement, K9 Diablo is busying himself by making K9 Dex's life as unnecessarily difficult as possible, which, good job, Diablo. Like, make him earn his keep. And he's continuing his habit of pushing the ball so far under the couch and then crying at the foot of the couch that mom has to go and fetch his ball for him. So he's got plenty to do in retirement. But yeah, watching her vacuum Diablo is pretty hysterical. Kendall also likes to dress him up in these ridiculous bow ties. He doesn't wear the bow tie when the 4 paws of justice are on the foot, although that would be an amazing image, now that I think about it. I should have made that request. Nah, I'll try to talk Dex into it. So this is not really a van or traveling video, but these are special people in my world, and special people and special pups who, you know, on days like today, I just would love to be there. Because I miss them all. And I miss seeing that big fluffy face with those big teeth and those huge ears. K9 Diablo also has a sister who's a Labrador, and she doesn't put up with any of his bullshit. So don't be confused by the rough and tough K9 look. The Labrador lady at home really actually runs his life. So I'm so bummed that I wasn't there. I saw they got him a puppy cake, and the chief made a big talk about how more people came to K9 Diablo's retirement party in the public than any officers. He responds to treats, and you can scratch him behind the neck and he gets affectionate with that. If you scratch an officer behind the neck, like if I do that, they'd probably knock me out. So I can see why that would happen. Anyway, just a little glimpse into my world back home, which as of today, it is the first time since Florida that the babe bus is turned south. And so begins my descent back into the great state of North Carolina, and I have to redo the van. I've learned a lot, and I also have to introduce you to all the incredible people that make up my universe, because I didn't do that when I was still there. So we got a lot to do. But if you would please join me in thanking K9 Diablo, who came from Poland, for his years of service. And at 7.5 years old, that beautiful beast is headed to the couch for many more years with Kendall, who has formally and officially adopted him, to eat all the ice cream that he wants. And please also join me in thanking all of our canine officers and our canines who do work that most of us are not brave enough to do. And speaking for the canines alone, you know, they're not scary. They just kiss really hard. I'll see y'all later.